Hey guys, I'm Game Advisor, and today we'll be going over the Week 57 update for Icarus. In this update, they really just added shields and did nothing else, so we're just going to talk about shields, what they're good for, do I think they're a fun item, things like that. So let's just jump into it. So, in case you haven't already realized, the only thing they've added today is shields, and shields are pretty basic. These are a tier 2 item currently, however they have stated they are planning on adding more advanced shields in the future. Currently, they allow you to block in a 90-degree angle in front of you, and they'll reduce your damage taken by up to 75%, which is a substantial amount. Keep in mind that these can be used with any one-handed tool or weapon. This means knives, this means your axes, this means a pickaxe, so you can have this on you pretty much all the time if you're just using a one-handed item, so it's a really nice item to just have available to us. They do also talk about how they feel these will be used in combat, and they feel these will be a good option if, say, you're in a bad situation or you don't know how to joust. It'll allow you to be able to take on things like bears without having to dodge them and just being able to block because you're taking a substantial amount of less damage. Now, do keep in mind, your jousting is still going to work. It's still going to be your best way to take out bears and things like that. But when you're fighting things like wolves, it could be really nice for you to be able to block them. I feel like this is going to be more of a new player item or a team-based item, so if you are a solo player, they might be nice to have, but they're by no means really necessary. I did test this out against some cave worms to see if it would block the splash projectile that attacks you, and it does not, but it does block the melee attack that the cave worms do. So that's nice to have and all, and it is useful again for things like wolves, so if you're struggling with those early on in your gameplay, I think you'll use this shield as just a way to keep yourself a little bit extra safe until you learn how to joust, until you learn how to do boss fights the right way. So I think this is mostly going to be a new player item. The other use was with parties, and I think in that case what you're going to see is you're going to see parties who are having sort of somebody who's focusing on being the tank, and their job is just to keep the attention of the animal or the boss or whatever's going on, while everybody else just shoots it with ranged attacks. So it should be something that is a nice addition to the game. It's great to have, but if I'm being honest, it does feel a little bit OP because if you're experienced with the game, you know roughly how long it's going to take for something to attack you between attacks. And so what you can do is just hold up the shield when that hits you and just take 75% less damage. Do keep in mind, this shield does have a durability and it will break pretty quickly, so that's something you'll want to be aware of, but nonetheless, it's very cheap to make. It's a tier 2 item that only requires a few iron bars and some really cheap materials like I think it's leather and wood, but either way, it's very cheap. It's very affordable. It'll be great for new players coming into the game that do not know about jousting and things like that. And it will be great for groups trying to do bosses in a more traditional style of way with a tank. However, I do feel that 75% damage for a tier 2 item to be able to block is just way too strong. I hope they actually reduce this down and make some higher tier shields or maybe an exotic shield that could do that. But right now, a wooden shield that is tier 2 that blocks 75% of damage, no matter what it's blocking, just seems broken to me. I hope they add in things like an iron shield that maybe could block in a higher radius and maybe block 75%. But again, we'll have to see what they do with it and where they go forward. I just think that right now it's a little too overpowered for a tier 2 item, and it maybe should be around a tier 3 for these stats in particular. I don't have a problem with the 90-degree angle. I just have a problem with the 75% damage on a tier 2 item. That's just insanely powerful. You know, I think this is going to get abused by people in the early game, and they're going to get used to using shields, and then they won't know how to deal with the boss because they didn't learn how to actually dodge things ahead of time. Either way, good addition to the game. I think it just needs some balancing. With all that being said, I want to give a big shout out to our Platinum and Above channel members, which include Caustic FPV, Jonathan S, and Jim Phillips. If you guys want to check out that program, you can do so by clicking the join button down below, where you'll be able to support our channel for less than the price of a cheeseburger. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Game Advisor, and I'll see you next time.